guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry I have been slacking significantly on getting my videos up, but hopefully that gets a lot better in December. This first video in December, I wanted to come back and give you guys my final review on Aceable Agent. If you haven't seen my first video, I will link it somewhere in here, so if you want to go back, refer to it, or if you just haven't seen it, please take a look at it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get started. So first I want to go over my final thoughts on Aceable Agent, the next step processes in receiving your license. I am in Texas, so it's going to be my next step process in the TREC system. And then what I'm using to prepare and study for my state and national exam. So I've got my list here. I've got some things that I've been using that I want to share with you guys that may be helpful on your journey. So let's get started because I don't want this to get too long. So as far as Aceable Agent, I did complete all 6 courses with them, and if you don't know, you can actually complete the courses at different schools or programs. You don't actually have to complete them all in one particular program. I just chose to. I think it's a lot easier once you're kind of used to that format, used to however that school goes about their course, just to complete them there. So I did complete all 6. I got my certificates. I passed all my exams, and so those have already been sent off to TREC, and they've gotten approved, and yada yada. I already got my TREC ID, so I'll go into that after this. So some pros that I like about Aceable Agent, like I said, refer to the first video because it's still some of the same things. I like that it is self-paced, which will actually be a bit of my cons as well, just because if you're not a self-paced person, if you need accountability, if you need to be in an actual school or have a teacher assigning you things, then this may not be the course for you. But I've done other self-paced things. I have other certifications and other things, so I'm kind of used to it. It can kind of draw out the process. So that was one thing. I do feel like it took me a lot longer than I wanted to, but I got it done. I started back in June or July, so sometimes time goes by so much quicker than you anticipate sometimes, and there is a lot of material that you have to cover, that you have to read. So just be really mindful of that if it's something that you're going to do self-paced, because it can take you a little longer than you want to. But pros, it's, I do like that you get to do everything in the comfort of your own home. I think for the most part, everything is set up really well with them. They do have it engaging as it can be. Like, it's always going to be a bunch of reading, but they do have different videos to kind of help break it up. They have like these scenarios, so they're kind of like videos, and they'll kind of go through like a issue or a problem, whatever, and kind of you'll solve it, answer some questions. And then they also have different speakers throughout the video. One is a realtor, one is I guess like someone that works with Aceable Agent, and I think those are the main two. There may have been like a third person that speaks kind of throughout the courses as well. So that does kind of help to break up some of those just constant reading, the monotony of it all. So that's helpful. They do provide study guides after each course, so I do like that. That's what I always use to review to prepare for the exams. So I always had those printed out, and I will show those in a minute. So I do suggest getting those printed out. So those are pretty much all my pros. I mean, it's nothing crazy, it's nothing hard, so you just have to get through it. At the end of the day, no matter where you go, it's going to be a lot of material to cover. Now, some of my cons, like I said, it is self-paced, so you do have to stay motivated. So if it's not your cup of tea, you need to be aware of that. Also, my biggest pro was still the price. So like, above all else, above the time it took me, it was still a great price. Like I told you guys in my first video, I did get it on Groupon, and it's just really, really hard to beat that. Now some of the cons, like I was saying, staying motivated, like accountability. It took me a little longer than I wanted to, but I still got it done. So I just be really, really mindful of that. Sometimes, at least for me, it could have just been my computer. I feel like at times it was just a little glitchy, nothing crazy, nothing like, got erased or sometime anything like that, but it would like randomly log out and I had to log back in. And there was like a couple grammatical errors, and I kept saying I was gonna like screenshot them and send them off to them just so they could fix it, but I didn't. So those are a couple things like that, nothing crazy. You can still, obviously, you can read it, understand it. It was just like a couple typos I noticed. So, technology is only going to be so good sometimes. And I will say, like, the first couple of courses compared to the last 3, now you can go in any order. I just went in the order that they had it set up. It seems like they're starting to reformat it a little bit, because like the first 2 or 3 ones, like they have Quizlets, they have their study material is just slightly different, and that the first 2 actually had the read out loud. I had already completed the first one before it became available, but the second one I did get to use the read out loud feature. So sometimes that was really nice when you just get tired of reading, or if I'm doing something else like cooking, I could have it playing. Now by the time I got to the 3rd course, I guess it had not developed to that course, and I did send an email in and the response was that they were working on it. They wanted to have them all out for the courses, but I don't know when that's going to be. I've already completed mine and it's not out yet. And I did notice when I went back just to go look at the other ones, it got removed. So I don't know, maybe there was a technical issue, or maybe they want to release them all together now. So just be mindful. I did mention a read out loud feature in my first one. It is not available for all the courses and may not be available for any of them right now unless they put it back out. So sorry. But for the most part, those are my only cons. As far as the testing system, I mentioned this in my first video as well. I'm still not a huge fan of having to you get to test in the privacy of your own home, but you do have to have someone like logged into your computer. So for me, that's just kind of like a security thing. Not a big deal. I never had any issues with them. It is an outsourced program or resourced or whatever. So but it is very convenient. You can pretty much test all day, so you never have to worry about. It's Monday through Sunday, all type of times, so that is very good whenever it's available for you. So that's pretty easy. Now, as far as I had some questions that kind of came up on my other video, so I wanted to address them in this video. No, there are not any textbooks for this course. Everything is stuff that you print out, and the only thing I printed out were my study guides, so you don't really need to go print. Oh, well, I will take that back. I'll show you guys how much the study guides are, like with all 6 courses, and it is literally a book, but there's no actual physical textbooks. You just printed them if you wanted to. Maybe you're comfortable just reading them on the computer. I personally like to have the paper and actually go through each review before I take that final exam. Is it the same price, or is it the same program for the full price compared to like if you get it on Groupon? As far as I can tell, it looks like it's the exact same program. I think Groupon just had it, just had that special feature, that offer, but you don't get any less when you purchase it on Groupon compared to paying full price from the website. I still had all the features. I still contacted them if I had any issues, which I never really did. It was just I asked about that voiceover feature, and maybe I had like an issue logging in one time. Other than that, you still have complete access to everything, so I don't think you get any less for their Groupon price. Do you need to take a lot of notes? I don't think so. The only time I really took notes were during certain math sections. I would kind of copy down like an example or something like that. Other than that, I really didn't take notes. I started to, but it will kind of delay your time. You want to get through the material, and I don't really think you need to. They're going to go over it enough times. Trust me, it is very repetitive at times. You'll have your quizzes, and like I said, at the end, you will have your study guide, and that's what I use to take the exams. So I wouldn't really suggest wasting too much time taking a bunch of notes unless it's like math or something that you really think is important, then by all means. But it will slow you down a little bit. So that's pretty much all I have for that. Now I wanted to show you guys my study guide. So each review I did print out the entire study guide. So this is, I'll kind of get a little bit closer. Oh, there's bad lighting. So this is it, and as you can see, it is pretty thick. This is for all 6 courses, and so I would just print out the summaries, and that's what I used to study for each exam. And I passed each one first try, so that worked out pretty well for me. So I studied that, and I took the practice exam. Each course is going to have a practice exam too, and I think that's really good. You can probably pass it without it, but it did kind of help me understand the format and how each exam would kind of be written up a little bit. So after that, you're going to have to, if you're in Texas, I'm just going to use Texas as an example, you do have to apply to TREC to get your TREC ID. So I applied to that, sent in my certificates, and I think within like 48 hours I had my ID. And then after that, I went ahead and made my appointment to get my fingerprints done, because you do need to get your fingerprints done. Even if you've had them done for something else, I did have a different license previous to that. But I still have to get them redone because, for real estate, they want to rerun your background. So, that's all cool, whatever. And then I went ahead and scheduled my appointment for my national and state exam. Now I'm giving myself plenty of time. That's what I'm currently studying for. I actually completed my courses last month. I'm in December right now, whenever you view this video. But I actually completed them back in November, so I'm a little late getting the video up. But I'm giving myself a few weeks to study for it. But I wanted to go ahead and schedule it because it kind of puts that pressure on me. For me personally, I wouldn't suggest going too long. Like, you want to give yourself plenty of time to study, get your materials and things like that. But the longer you take, you're going to start losing, some of the stuff that you're remembering, or, you just start to procrastinate. They do give you up to a year after you get your ID to take your exam, but I just would not suggest taking, that much time unless something really critical happens. So I just went ahead and scheduled my exam date, so I kind of have a crunch time now, like, okay, you need to get this done, you need to study, or, whatever. Now, as far as what I'm using to study and prepare for the exam, I am using what's available through Aceable Agent. I did reach out to a couple people, and they all kind of pointed me in different directions, which they're probably all good. You know, it worked for them, obviously. But I'm going to use what Aceable Agent has. I just ordered some flashcards, so I'll show you those real quick. And I just grabbed these off Amazon, so I will put that link below. And it's 450 flashcards. These are not catered to any particular state, so it's a lot of general terminology that you need for the real estate industry. But they're just good, like little flashcards, and they have answers on the back. But they had really good reviews, so I grabbed those for more like terminology, because I think that's what it's going to be a lot of. It's just terminology, understanding the principles, probably some scenarios, how to apply it, things like that. So I'm not terribly concerned. And I've also been looking at some YouTube videos giving some examples of different tests. So like if I'm on the cardio machine or like treadmill or something like that, I'll just kind of have those playing, answering the questions along with the video. Right now I'm using my study guides, and I'm using what Aceable Agent has. Now the other thing that I'm probably going to get is the prep agent. He is on YouTube. I've seen some of his videos, and it seems like his stuff is really good, or him and his team. So I'm probably going to get their test prep material and kind of go through it, because I have enough time. Because I, like anybody else, I want to take this exam one time, pass it, and, you know, be looking and talking to my brokerages and things like that. So that's what I'm currently using. Now, one thing that's not necessarily related to the studying is the taxes. So as you're going through this process, you're going to probably be spending money. You spent money to buy your course. You're going to spend money to apply for your to send in your papers and apply for your sales license, which in Texas is $205. They kind of break it down. And then you're going to pay for your test, which I think is $43. Your fingerprints are $38 or $30 something. So you want to start tracking all this, and I've already kind of got my folder. So everything that I purchase, everything that, you know, that goes towards this, I'm making sure that I'm keeping it. Because what you don't want to do is like have the end of the year or something, and then you're like trying to find stuff and, you know, print out things. So as I go through it, I just have everything printed, even that entire book where like each time I go to Office Max, Office Depot, whatever, and I go print out all those papers, I keep those receipts as well, because all that stuff is tax deductible. So just make sure that you are keeping receipts and keeping track. That's also going to be very beneficial as a real estate agent, of course, because this is a commission-based job. So I was going to say journey, because it is a journey too, but it is commission-based. So you need to make sure that you are, you know, taking care of your finances and making sure that you can write off as much as you can. So I would highly suggest going ahead and getting your folder early. And so that's pretty much the end of it. I hope that you guys found all this information very helpful. You know, leave comments, like, comment, subscribe. You guys continue to stay tuned. I'm going to try my best to do better with getting my videos out, especially while I'm on this journey, because I know there's plenty of other people that are on the journey as well. And you know, if you're like me, you're Googling everything, like, okay, what do I do next, or da-da-da. You're trying to reach out to people. YouTube is an excellent resource to reach out to others and see, you know, others on the journey realistically. You know, we're going to make some mistakes and things like that, but let's just stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.